Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Well, here we go. Week 1 of the NFL is in the bag. Week 1 of the NFL fantasy season is also in the bag. I sit down this week with what will hopefully be my co-host, Paul Williams, and we had a few special guests, none of which are in our fantasy league. Ed Dent, Sam Muscroft and James Panas joined us, and we did a review of the Week 1 fantasy, Week 1 NFL season 2018, and then a bit of a preview of what's coming next week. So give this a listen for all you NFL fans, see what you think to this, see how Week 1 NFL season, fantasy and actual season 2018 went. Here you go.
We giving it one of those?
Not yet.
No.
What's that throwing in? What's it being like?
Oopie's Kenny.
I'm just right, we're going to give it one of those. Podcast time, let's do this. So here we are, Week 1, NFL Fantasy, and what's lucky for everyone else in our fantasy league, or one of our fantasy leagues, is that for this week, it was me versus Paul Williams.
Boo!
So we didn't need to get anyone else on the podcast this week to do a
fantasy recap.
And preview for next week's games. So because of that, we decided to invite these guys along.
These 3 invited special guests who have absolutely 100% interest in the National Football League.
Knowledge or anything.
Well, I was listening to the NFL the other night.
NFL was shit.
This one's the hand egg, isn't it?
When you were asleep.
This is reverse
I woke up
rugby.
to it. It was so
It is
interesting.
rugby
Broke
girl.
my sleep.
So you now want me. So quick little
We've got
thing.
the 2 sports ballers.
Yeah, sports ballers. So
And
rugby,
football, so I don't care.
and a guy who I think probably would get into it. Hence why he was my first option for taking up the spare slot in the league. And he passed
I
it
don't know
up.
if that's a compliment or not.
So
you got first reviews.
rugby,
And you
the ball has to go backwards.
Hmm.
In American football, they're allowed to throw the ball forwards.
American football's much more.
I understand how it works.
Kind of like chess.
I watched the Super Bowl.
I
I'm one of those guys.
I was literally directing that straight at Sam.
I also just been facetious in that I'm sure if I wanted
Out
to
of this
learn,
room,
I could, but I chose not to.
out of this room,
They have
he's
players
been
and they're
to an
able to
American
move
football
10 yards
game.
at a time.
He's been to an American football game.
Did not know that.
Yeah, because he plays it.
Oh, hang on.
Boring experience of my life.
When you say he's been to an American football game, as in one of the ones at Wembley,
No.
or he went to go see his cousin play.
I went to
Right.
see our cousin
You're
play.
That's a little bit different.
It's a
then.
little different, but it's still an American football game.
Yeah, closest thing to sport I've ever done. Turning up and watching.
So,
I'd like to start
what
by
would you say? How would you want to do this?
I'd like to start by saying condolences on
You can
there.
fucking
Come
take
on,
take
come on. I'm
take that away
I
right
didn't say
now.
anything all day. Come on.
Take that away right now.
It was well played.
I'm
I am
assuming
not
this
shaking
is
your
a-
hand.
It was well played. Come on.
I'll give you one of these.
You slut.
And
Because
that'll
Andy
do.
lost and he's being a good sport about it.
Week 1.
Trusting?
So my main point is the fact that over the 2 fantasy leagues I'm in, I have Doug Baldwin and Emmanuel Sanders in both leagues. Chose to start Doug Baldwin and bench Emmanuel Sanders in both leagues. Emmanuel Sanders is sat on my bench with 20-ish points in both leagues. Doug Baldwin, big bagel.
It's a bagel for
And I'm pretty sure he's now out for the next couple of weeks
He is
because
out.
he's injured himself.
Thank you. I really do.
A bagel.
Were you struggling with that?
A bagel is 0.
I was trying to figure it out and I was thinking,
Well, it looks like a gigantic 0.
well, yeah, but
Like a,
uses the term birdie and that doesn't look anything like a -1.
like a 40 burger.
Don't.
You kind of get me point?
Oh, wait! Just you wait till I talk you through the guy I was playing in my other league and through some of the points he scored against me.
I won't talk you through the person I was playing in my other league because that's 2 leagues I won in this week. Just saying, you know.
What a swine!
Just saying, 119 points in my other league.
Just crack the volume right.
Yeah, I mean, I love hearing numbers completely out of context.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a week in.
Weekend?
the thing that I would focus on the most for you, I'll need to check this, but I'm pretty sure you got so lucky in the fact that you were playing me, because I'm pretty sure if you'd have played anyone else in the league, you'd have lost.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we scored we together scored the joint lowest.
Yeah, we will have done.
But that just suggests to me that Andy's particularly good at the football.
No, it just means that our teams are particularly terrible.
No, literally, today you can set your lineup again for the coming week.
Sorry,
changed all of them.
I tell a lie. Newest member of the league,
Benjamin Keep?
Benjamin Keep.
Or Benji.
Benji Keep.
See, I think I have some insight into that one. Yeah, because wasn't he giving it some big talk or something?
He was, prior to the draft, he was very up for this. I think he was thinking he was going to do a little bit of damage, and then he took Jimmy Garoppolo with his first pick, and he had. So just to go through Jimmy Garoppolo's stats from this weekend. So he's a quarterback,
QB.
That's the
QB, if you will. That's the main man, if you will, for any team.
Yeah,
he's the one who basically sets the plays, calls the plays along with the head coach. He threw for 261 yards, which sounds middle of the road, that's fair enough. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Now, 3 interceptions isn't great.
It's not great.
That's minus 6 points right there. Not the best start. And he scored a combined total of 8 points, which for a fantasy quarterback is fucking terrible.
It's low end. I mean, obviously, you could have put the... let's see. You could have put the Saints defence in.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point to come on to. Apologies. So, in myself and Andrew's matchup, again, Andrew won. Brilliant. We don't need to go into it any further.
We don't.
He has won. So he beat me 76 to 72. He's managed to get 76 points with his defence scoring minus 9 points.
So just for you non-players, your defence walks onto the field with 10 points. So my defence scored a whopping, what is essentially minus 19.
So that worked well for you, right?
Well, I mean, presumably that just means you've got an excellent offence.
You just say
no. Well, I mean, yeah.
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
Okay, just better than his.
No,
I always wonder if this is what it sounds like when me and Trevor talk about PCs and at work.
This is exactly what you and Chev sound like when you're talking about PCs.
Yeah. So do you want to give a? Do you want me to go through the matchups and then?
So really, this is a podcast for our. I suppose it's our work league, isn't it? Because the people that we're going to have on each week are people in that league.
The majority of the people that are in the league are made up from our places' staff.
Yeah.
Be it whether they're still on our team, work for a different team, work for a different department.
Or a family member of team members.
No, because she still works for the department.
I was thinking about Benji.
Oh, I see what you mean. So we've got our matchup.
Yeah.
Andy takes the win, 76 to 72. So he's on a win, I'm on a loss.
Mm-hmm.
The closest game was between James Forrester Gray and Tim Lacey.
Yeah.
Tim Lacey misses out by 1 point and posts a big L for his first match of the season.
I walked past the other day and it looked like he was doing something, like setting a lineup or something. And I was like, yeah, Tim, looking at his lineup, trying to get some inside scoop on what he was going to play. And his response was, I'm just trying to see if ESPN have recalculated the scores to see if I had lost by 1 point.
No.
And the answer was no, they haven't.
TB12 gets him 21 points as his QB. It's not enough though. It's not enough to overcome the James Conner show that was going on in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The next matchup wasn't as close. You've got Come On Sack One, which I believe is Leanne Davies.
It is Leanne Davies.
Going up against the Yorkshire Knights. No big shock there. Robert Rafton. So Rob Rafton gets the win, 101 to 86. The next matchup was current reigning and defending league champion Matthew Moore, who, until he comes on the podcast, people are still going to be absolutely convinced is just me.
So we have this thing that Paul's got 3 teams in our league, and he just makes up a new name each time he has a new team. So I've said that because Paul's other teams are both out of towners as well.
This
Never
myth will be dispelled next week when we get James Forrester Gray on.
So what I've said,
unless I've somehow been able to
when
throw my voice.
When James Forrester Gray phones in, I'm going to have 10 glasses of water lined up, and at all times that he's talking on the phone, Paul has to be drinking a glass of water.
So these are people that Paul's invited to the league.
Right. So I know Matt Moore from. I used to work with him way back in the day when he was at uni in York. He has since left York, moved to Newcastle, and James is one of his friends from Newcastle. So it was when we were expanding the league.
Stories for
When we were expanding the league, so we started off with
internal life in the league.
Yeah, exactly. We started off with 8 teams.
Remember that episode of Friends
3
where
or 4
Joey
years
was with
ago.
Chandler and he just had this elaborate backstory with all these kids in and stuff?
It was brilliant.
A little bit like that.
That's Paul.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
just his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all met your girlfriend, Paul.
What?
I'm sure she's totally.
Slammed! I can show you some pictures, but I'm not going to. So,
No, God.
Paul's girlfriend that lives
All
in
that
Canada.
proved to me is that you know how to stalk people on Facebook and download their images from it. It doesn't prove she exists.
I reckon Paul's really good at that.
probably.
Sorry, carry on with your football.
Carry on with your sports ball rubbish.
So, so current league defending champion Matthew Moore going up against league newcomer Benji Keep. And it's a win for the defending champion. And unfortunately, Mr. Keep posted an L on his first match in the league.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake, I knew we'd have to cover him at some point. So next up,
Paul's favourite league member.
Uber slag,
Jesus.
Uber shit,
Oh.
Uber toss piece Matthew 2T's Hurley going up against everyone's favourite underdog Philip Walls.
Yes.
Sadly, Phil can't pull out the W.
Oh God, Phil, come on.
I got a message from Mr. Hurley this morning just saying, "Oh, is Phil not in work today?" Oh, and I was like, so I just went back with,
This is the
You
reason
do-
that people hate you.
you do realise this is why people think you're an absolute shithouse, yeah?
You're gonna have to explain this.
So
Early's good.
the
at game.
first year we had the league.
Oh God.
It was
Go
all-
all the way back
you
to
know
the
that
dark
you've alluded
times.
to this before that he wins, but you don't know how he does it.
So the first year,
Could be black magic.
it probably is Black Magic.
The song.
The first year we only had 8 teams.
Yeah.
People were relatively new to it, but I'd been doing the fantasy in another league for about 2 seasons, so I had a fairly decent idea of what I needed to do. So when we did the draft, I was amazed at how easy it was to pick up a good team because no one knew what the fuck they were doing. So I got all the way to the final in both of my fantasy leagues and conspired to lose both finals.
It's Matt.
League was
One of
one of them in our league was to Matt,
Two
and the
teams.
other one was in my other league to a guy called Greg. And it was the most harrowing, soul-crushing, heart-wrenching loss of my entire life.
But even though he's at that time new to your fantasy things,
He
he
is.
knows NFL, right?
Not really.
He's a,
No, I thought he was
Up
into it.
until that point,
he's
I
a
think
very gracious winner.
no, he's not.
Oh, that's right. No, he's an. I mean, I will go with one of yours. He's an absolute shithouse when
He really is, though. It's like,
he
but it's
just-
it's the way that he comes across it. He
Oh.
normally sends you the little things on communicator, just like something like, "See the results this week." ...
No,
There's also
smashed you.
Yeah.
So
Oh, the worst one was a couple of seasons ago when he beat me by 1 point because his kicker scored about 30 points. That never happens. Your kicker never scores that many points. And he was giving it big lick 6 in. Big win for Team Hurley this weekend. And I was like, go fuck yourself.
gracious winner. But the rest of the league do very much enjoy when it's that week where they play each other because
There's going to be some skullduggery that will
So
go
is that
on.
always the good match of the league?
Oh,
yeah, it's the number
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, but He always wins.
He always wins. He
always wins.
I think in the last. I think in the entire time.
Cannot wait.
I honestly think
to the week.
I've beaten him once.
I cannot
literally
wait
once
that you play this season, and then we have him on the podcast.
So I do not
think
play
you
him
might get
until
stuck.
week 5.
Yeah, we're well aware.
So
of it.
week
We're
6,
we're all tuning in for that.
Tune in for that podcast because you might actually see a fight on the.
I've already paid money out for security on that day.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.
So
do you remember that thing on Gladiators where they had the big
pugil sticks?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
That was Jewel, that wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was called.
Yeah.
With
The giant earbuds.
With Shadow.
It's the Wolfman!
Definitely not on drugs.
We're on drugs. Anyway, carry on.
So, yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Walls can't do everyone in the league a favour and get the win. Matthew gets 115 points. Filthy fucking hole.
Which in our league's hard to do because generally all of
Is
our
that the
players
highest
are-
score? Is that the highest score of the round as well?
Fucking horse.
It's the fact that he's got 115 points with a guy scoring none. One of his guys didn't get anything. And he still managed to post 115.
It doesn't sound like you're accepting that he knows his stuff. And
He does now. To give him his due, he now does know a little bit about it. He has started watching it more, and he now does know how to draft a team, and he does know how to set his lineup correctly, and all that
You're
stuff.
such a bitch, Paul. It's unbelievable how.
It's just seriously. If it was
salty.
anybody else, it'd be fine. It's just him.
It's so
He just
salty.
knows how to push my buttons, and I just don't know why I don't know why it gets to me so much. It's just because it's him. So, final matchup of the round was Resident doesn't know what the hell's going on. Colin Wright. I swear to God, if you didn't tell him that there was games that weekend, he wouldn't have a
Oh, I've heard a story about it. Hasn't Cole previously drafted someone who's been not played in 6 months?
Best thing that he did 2 seasons ago was in round 6, searched for a player because he couldn't find him in the list.
This is the mega dude.
So he drafted a guy
Megatron.
called Megatron,
Yeah.
or that was his nickname, called Calvin Johnson, and everyone was like,
Cole,
"What are you doing?" He was like, "It's Megatron, man. You got to
Get
take
me fucking Megatron.
Got to
Get me
take
Megatron."
It's like Colin retired at the end of last season. What?
Oh.
What's that?
Oh no.
No. I saw something. No.
What you saw was him announcing
he
his
retired.
retirement.
Oh, so he's not going to get any points.
So
then?
how
No,
is it?
he's
How is
absolutely
it?
not going to get any
So
points.
can you?
It's all right.
Can
He
you
started
draft
this
anyone,
season.
then?
He started this season by going, "We're redrafting, yeah, because I got kicked out for a while and I've got a shit team." No, Cole, we're not redrafting.
The best thing was that he said that he'd been in. He went into the draft room and selected a couple of not auto picks, but he
queued
the players that he wanted, and then forgot to take himself. Oh no, and he also put himself on auto draft just in case he missed any of the parts.
Oh, so like when you go, as long as no one else picks them up,
Yeah.
it goes. Yeah.
So he'd set all these players that he wanted to take,
Don't mind
and then forgot to take himself off auto draft. So when it came to his pick in the first round, he was like, "He's cooking
that. I didn't pick that person.
Why does
It's
he
not
even
working.
bother then if he cares so little?
He does care though. He only just cares.
He just can't do
He
it.
just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
He just can't do
It's
it.
unbelievable.
Rob was drafting his team from the car whilst driving home. It was like, yeah, that one. And you can tell when he went from driving home to being at home, because it'd be like 3, 2, and he picked his player, to like 4 picks later, it was like, Rob Rafton, player picked, next. It's like, okay, Rob's just got home then.
It was quite funny.
Yeah, so that, as I said to Tim when I had to, hug him and console him for that 1 point loss, I was like, unfortunately,
The 1 point loss is the hardest one to take.
it's the hardest one. Actually, no, the hardest one to swallow is the ESPN recalculation that takes you from a win to a
I mean
loss.
that would be pretty devastating. I must admit.
Shut
But
up.
you don't get recalculations
Where's,
that much.
Have you finished? Cause
No.
I was gonna
So
say-
I just want to go
what
through.
circumstances would you get the recalculation then? Just
So it's where
You can ask
it's
Thomas Quinn if you like.
so the recalculations sometimes come when they've given someone
All plays are reviewed.
they've given someone points for it. So basically, if you're a running back and the quarterback hands the ball off, you don't get any points for that being a pass. Whereas if it's been thrown and then the running back takes it, it's classed as a pass. It's kind of weird because it's all to do with like where the ball is taken and stuff like that. So if they pass it behind him, it's a handoff, whereas if they just throw it up in the air and the guy then runs through and takes it, it's classed as a pass, even though he's not throwing it forward, technically.
Because you can have your running back run off like to the left, and like obviously the whole team goes that way, your running back goes that way, and you can just throw it down the line. It's still a pass, even though you're throwing it like 5 feet or something.
So it's all to do with it going backwards or forward.
So someone reviews these like in football, club football, like the dubious goals.
Yeah, I was just going to say the dubious goals panel will be the closest thing you'd get in football, and it's been deemed that something that they'd said was deemed to be a pass has to be downgraded to a handoff. So you don't the quarterback then doesn't get the yardage for the pass, because the worst one would be if he basically passed them the ball at the 1 and they ran it in for a touchdown, because that's a 99-yard reception, and that gets downgraded to a handoff. So your running back then gets 10 points for the yardage, just about, and the 6 points for the touchdown, and your quarterback gets fuck all. So, yeah, your recalculations can sometimes absolutely fucking shit you.
And there was a year, Tom played Liam. Was it last season? Or
He went to bed. He went to bed knowing he'd won or something like that, and woke up.
No, he woke up the next day and he'd won. But then by the time he got to work, there'd been a recalculation, and it was that he'd won by a point. They recalculated and he'd lost by a point.
So the dream really would be a recalculation on Hurley's team.
Oh my god! If they just recalculate all his points
after he linked
had one as well. I think he had a recalculation.
Nothing would make me happier.
After he's linked, did you see
yeah, exactly. Karma. That would be Karma just biting him straight in his ass. So
give us another one.
So the last game of the round was Cole going up against the aforementioned Thomas Quinn.
The Man Mountain.
Bit of a blowout, this one.
Terrifying man ogre.
Man ogre, that's mean. That ogre indicates some sort of ugliness.
That boyish scamp.
I've called him terrifying man ogre for all the time I've worked with him, and it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah,
is that why he refers to you as Muff Chops?
I'm sure he calls me that because it's funny.
It's a good name though. That,
to be fair, I'm pretty sure Tom's always said that you actively make him call you that or something like that.
Oh, I believe
in bed.
It's kind of a, I believe the reason that I got called Muff Chops is because someone misheard my name while I was on the phone.
Excellent.
And obviously it was so funny. It's like, yeah, that's it. Muff Chops.
So going back to the game, like I say, a bit of a blowout.
Tom smashed it.
Cole won by 40 points.
Oh, Cole!
Jesus!
Mainly because he had Cole's got Tyreek Hill in his team, and I believe the first scoring play of the Kansas City versus the LA Chargers game was a 90-yard Tyreek Hill kickoff return or punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, totally.
Big yardage.
Totally understand.
Big yardage. Big points.
I'm really surprised that you're not in on this. Because me and him were like, right, we need a new player for the team. So I was like, right, I'll text Panas because he's definitely going to be in it, and he was already texting me. So
you were my first thing, because I think we briefly discussed it.
We floated it to you.
I can follow NFL to a degree, and it's just even if you asked me to be a proper footballer, let's say,
yeah,
I just lose interest.
That's understandable.
It's the effort of going through the season.
He came back and he was like, Panas is like, no, I wouldn't know what to do. I'm good, thanks. And I was like, that's surprising. Mm-hmm. But each their own. Can't all be right, can you?
It is what it is.
So that's
week 1 done and dusted.
Week 1 is done and dusted. So half the league.
So the standings are as follows.
Lay it on me.
Top of the league, Colin Wright. Second in the league, Shithouse Bastard. Third, Rob Rafton. Fourth, James Forrester Gray. Fifth, Matthew Moore.
Yeah, we knew he was going to be 6th because it's all teams.
Andrew Cook.
Yeah.
7th, Tim Lacey. 8th, Phil Walls. 9th, Leanne Davies. 10th, Tom Quinn. Not had my own name yet. 11th, Benji Keep. 12th and bottom of the fucking pile, Paul Shitstained Balls Williams. So the reason that this is
it's like
some, not all, but some would consider it to be quite funny is as Paul's previously mentioned, he was doing fantasy before all of us, and Paul prides himself on the football knowledge and all the sports ball knowledge and all the sports knowledge. So the rest of us in the league do have a little chuckle at things like this. This is week one, as somebody pointed out. Oh wow, I lost week one. The season's over. Oh no, it's week one. Nobody gives a shit. Eli Manning is still in bed right now because it's week one. Eli don't wake up till at least week 6 and start playing.
Well, he doesn't play anyway because he's fucking terrible.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about what happened in week one. So where do we start with this? Would you like to start with Le'Veon Bell by any chance?
So Le'Veon Bell just basically decided,
I'm not going to work today.
Don't really want to play for them anymore.
I don't want to play for the Steelers anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm not going to.
But this is what I haven't understood. So, oh shit. From the end of last season...
Mind you, the camera on the last one.
So at the end of last season, he actively said
I don't want to play for the...
he didn't want to be franchise tagged by the Steelers.
Yeah.
They franchise tagged him.
You're going to have to explain what this means.
So the franchise tag...
Sorry, this is going to be longer than...
I don't know it inside and out, but what I understand is that obviously you've got this thing called the salary cap. So you can only use so much of your annual turnover you can use as your salary for all your players.
Financial fair play.
Something like that.
So that stops teams from going, well, we've got a big budget, so we want all the best players, so we'll just offer out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions for everybody, get the best team and walk the rest of it.
So the Steelers used the franchise tag space to tie Le'Veon Bell to another contract.
So it's to stop monopolies, basically.
Yeah.
To give you a clue, number 1 on the running list of running backs for the draft was Le'Veon Bell.
So he's pretty much a monster running back. He always gets yards. He'll always score you touchdowns because he's really good.
But they can basically block anyone from...
Yeah, so they tied him.
Well, he's until he's out of contract,
right.
No one else can get him unless they trade for him and give him an offer that's literally too good to refuse, which you do sometimes get. There's been I can't remember who it was that traded up in the draft and they got something like 2 first rounders for 2 years in a row. It might have been the Rams trading for Brandon Cooks or something like that. So he doesn't want to be there because he thinks he can get a better deal from any other club in the NFL,
which is probably true.
But they've got the right to basically say, well, no, you're our player. We've got the ability to keep you. We're going to do it. This is what we're going to pay you. He's obviously decided he thinks he's worth more than that and just stayed away from practice and stuff like that.
So
well,
that puts the shits up everyone. So you get this player's questionable because they didn't turn up to practice. That does a lot of damage to your fantasy because you're like, well, what does that mean? What does questionable mean? They know what it means. But
exactly.
So you've got the questionable thing that didn't turn up to practice. You've got players that don't turn up to practice because they're injured. So that's a bad sign if they don't turn up. It means a lot, and especially in fantasy. Le'Veon Bell then didn't turn up to the game.
The thing is, though, there was something I was reading on the fantasy app that said that if he didn't show up,
you're gonna go like the money, aren't you?
Yeah, they can start to fine him.
So
upwards of $850,000. So he's kind of shooting himself in the foot by not showing up.
So he didn't turn up to play.
But he's trying to force a trade then.
So I don't think he's trying to force a trade because I don't think they probably won't. They won't trade him because he's arguably their best running back. I mean, this guy that played on Sunday was fine.
I can only liken it to football though, where
they're trying to force a move.
If someone wants to move,
yeah,
refuse to play, and then they base it on the fact that.
I mean, it's different obviously because you don't get transfer.
Oh, so it's not like value.
So someone the Dallas Cowboys can't just come in and say we'll buy him off you for $50 million or whatever. They've got to trade for him, so they've got to offer.
So yeah, what they've said is now that he hasn't turned up, he's made his stance. So the team are now going to start fining him every week he doesn't turn up to play. $850. I think
is that more than what he's contracted?
$1,000.
Well, no, it'll be on loads. All the contracts in the NFL are all incentive based and stuff like that. So you get so much guaranteed, and then the rest of it's made up from. his, for example, will be if he scores X amount of touchdowns per season, he'll get this as a bonus. If he gets so many yards during the season, he'll get this as a bonus.
Manning's last season,
if they get so far in the season,
So
if they get so far in the playoffs,
is the £8,000 fine just to basically cover off what they're paying him?
Probably it'll be because he's in a way he's in breach of his contract because he's not showing up for the games. He's not fulfilling his side of the contractual agreement. So
Peyton Manning's last season, he went to the Broncos and was like, I want you to pay me $18 million for this season. And the Broncos went, we're not going to pay you $18 million. What we will do is we'll pay you $14 million and then we'll incentivise the rest. Yeah. So if you get to the playoffs, we'll give you another. And basically making it up to $18 million. If he went to and won the Super Bowl, he got paid $18 million that year.
And he didn't really do that much. It was probably his worst season as a player.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was suffering with injury and stuff.
Yeah,
supposedly. So that's Le'Veon Bell. I mean,
but as we said,
he's going to turn up this week.
I imagine he must play a week too. But saying that, James Conner came in, did all right. He scored 2 or 3 touchdowns, I think. I've got him in my other league. I'll have a look and see what the projections are like for next week because it'll say whether he's due to play or not.
Mm-hmm. The other one I wanted to bring up was Tom's favourite first round draft pick, Aaron Rodgers.
Doing Aaron Rodgers type things.
So Rodgers went off injured because they were playing the Bears.
You're going to have to fill me in on this because I don't know this. I didn't see the game.
So Rodgers went off injured, which is not a good sign because last season Rodgers had quite a long time out injured. Was it broken collarbone?
Yeah, I think that he
easiest thing to break on your body. And
he got pretty much nailed by the defensive player.
I'm surprised he's listening at this point.
No, I am listening. I just have very little to contribute.
I think he tried to come back and got injured again.
I'm trying to take it in.
Yeah, so he came back a little too early. Got injured. So he went off injured. They brought on the backup quarterback, Karen playing, but then they started losing. But Rodgers came back on the field. They were behind, and then they've come back to win by the end of the game.
Yeah, Steve said he was just hobbling around pretty much like for the majority of the half when he came back on, and it was just again it's just standard Rodgers doing what Rodgers does, which is why he's the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he got $100 million contract for 4 years just before the season started.
And as may have previously been discussed, his moustache game is on point.
He's got a good moustache.
Oh my god, he's got a right handlebar. Porn star is just.
Who's this guy?
So he's called Aaron Rodgers. He's the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, listen to that game.
Yes, that is your input into this section of the podcast.
There you go, it's gone now.
My personal favourite was the having the Saints defense.
That game was absolutely ridiculous. I don't think no one would have seen that coming from last season. So obviously you had the Saints that got to one. Well, they were in the divisional round of the playoffs, I think. And the Bucks finished bottom of the division, and then the Bucks just absolutely just.
Oh, they bent them the fuck over.
But it was Ryan Fitzpatrick just had an absolute mental game.
Because hadn't Roethlisberger had a shit ton of interceptions.
I think he threw 4. He had minus 10 just on his turnovers. So, but yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick probably had the best game of his career. He threw for 4 touchdowns, ran one in, had an absolute shit ton of yards. And he'll be playing for at least the next 2 weeks because Jameis Winston's still injured, so he might be depending on who they've got. He's potentially a streaming QB pickup in
Luigi.
Oh, Luigi! I get it.
Luigi.
What Luigi?
Luigi.
Just
Please tell me there's a short, fat, red version of him.
You just want to put that into the
Basically,
camera.
I'm just
It's
going to
the
shove
Mario
that
Brothers.
into the camera.
Mario
Mustache
Brothers.
game.
Mustache game
Oh,
on point. If anybody, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers with his. Very Luigi. In fact.
The green cap is.
The green cat's
It's the
a
green hat,
giveaway.
does it?
So earlier in the week, I sent out a podcast schedule, which I have a horrible feeling it'll just fall flat on its face, especially for the fact that I don't know if you want to get your standings up. So this week
Schedule.
Yeah, this week I am playing Come On Saquon.
That is an inter-house matchup, is it not?
In-house matchup, me versus the boy Davies.
The boy.
Boy Davies.
The boy Davies, even though she's a girl.
She is a girl. Is she the only girl now?
She is the sole female. Before we had 2 females.
There's 2 girls.
But we had more than 1 cup.
Well, a plethora of cups.
So, okay.
So,
who was the other girl? Anyway.
so the idea of
Harriet de Bourgh.
So the idea of the podcast is that we're going to have our respective opponents, at least one of our respective opponents on each week. Some people will even phone in, or will phone them. And they'll be on
Fingers
the podcast.
crossed, yeah, we should get our first phone entrant.
Cracking start. I'm playing Lan, and she won't be here to do the podcast. That's a great start. Who have you got?
I am going up against the aforementioned James Forrester Gray.
James Forrester Gray.
So if we can get him on the line from the Tyne, then we should be able to do a lovely little sit-down interview.
And just for you, week 3 should be real nice. Just for you. Your favourite league participant will be in the house. For week
Senor
3.
Hurley.
It is Senor Stabby.
Oh my god, that shit stain. He'll probably do. He could do it in person though, because he actually lives in York.
He is well up for doing it in person.
So yeah, quick rundown. So we've got the first week's out of the way. Week 2, myself versus James, you versus Leanne, Tim going up against Matt Moore. So that's the previous 2
winners going up against each other.
You've got the Yorkshire Knights going up against Kaepernick's knee, the aforementioned Mr. Hurley. Oh yeah, we could go for the team names actually.
Kaepernick's knee?
Yeah, because Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah,
the guy who
the
took
knee.
the
Yeah, I
knee.
get it now, yeah.
Where was it? Yeah, so that's Rob going up against Matt Hurley. So we've got 2 1-0 teams there. So someone's going to be posting a loss, unless there's a tie. We have the Oxford Heathens. That's Benji Keep's team going up against Blunt Force Trauma. That is Colin's team. And the final matchup is Crimea Phil Rivers.
I wonder who that is.
Well, it is Phil's team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, the quarterback he's got is Phil Rivers.
Oh, right, okay.
Saying names again.
Going up against Tom Quinn. And that is 2 0-1 teams. So one team's getting their first W of
And
the
what's
season.
Tom's name?
Quinn Corp. Named after
Taco
Taco Corp from the league. Once again, watch the league. It's very funny.
TV show. If you've got Netflix, go on Netflix, put in The League. It's
hilarious.
a comedy that's based around a group of people who do fancy, and you'd love it because they just abuse each other.
It's very funny.
But it's very sounds like it might be sport ball.
It's not though. It's really not
sport
sport based. They occasionally have NFL stars on it,
Yeah, NFL players.
but it's very loosely based around.
Marshawn Lynch
American
almost
football.
did at least 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You'll need to remind me about 14 times, and I might actually watch it because I forget things that are on.
But yeah, I mean, there's the funny like NFL stuff, but it's just it's pretty brutal in places. Very funny. So that's the coming week. Do you want to give Paul Williams his tip for
drop Delaney Walker in any of your leagues? He's out for the rest of the season, so I'm having to find a new tight end already in my other league.
I'm pretty sure I've got a tight end issue. I'm sure one of my teams I've got a tight end that's projected to score 0.
I love how the people who aren't into NFL just find I've got a tight end issue. A funny comment.
So, what I would say there is refer back to the preview podcast to have a rundown of the positions and things like that. If you're wondering.
I would definitely do that.
I've heard of the position.
Greg fucking Olsen.
Oh yeah, I don't know how long he's out for.
Don't talk to me about tight end issues. I
Couple of
got
weeks.
tight end issues. Or luckily for you.
But he doesn't make when you watch the game, he seemed to injure himself by stepping on another player. Because I thought at first that someone had stood on his foot, but it wasn't. He stood on someone else.
So you thinking he might have got turf toe?
Could be.
Out for the season.
You don't want to be dealing with turf toe.
Anything else that you want to advise the budding fantasy listeners?
Watch Red Zone. If you're interested in getting into the NFL, I'd say the best thing to do is to turn on Sky Sports Mix on a Sunday, or if you've got Game Pass, you can go for Game Pass.
For the rest of us.
But yeah, if you've got access to Sky Sports, go to Sky Sports Mix, 6 p.m. on a Sunday. They do this thing called NFL Red Zone. It works very similar to how Soccer Saturday would work for the Premier League, well, not for the Premier League, for football on a Saturday. Whereas it goes around all of the games and shows you all the action from all the games.
It's all scoring play.
But it's like a magazine show.
Yes. Well, no, it's live.
No, it literally just jumps from game
So it's
to game.
live from the game.
So the way I used to
see
do
what
it,
you mean, yeah.
I've often had Game Pass. So the way I used to do it, and you used to go mental about this, was I'd go, right, that game looks like the interesting 6 o'clock game. So that's the game I'm going to watch at 6. That's the game I'm going to watch at 9. That's the game that I'm going to watch before I go to bed. And that's that. And then like Thursday night games and stuff like that, you watch the game stuff. And you'd be like,
massive time commitment.
why the fuck are you doing that?
I mean,
And I'm like, what? I want to watch the game. I want to watch the game. Because I watch all the games. Put Red Zone on.
I mean, it's not a massive problem. It's a case of like, to me, it makes no sense for me to watch a particular game because I don't support a particular team. If it gets to the stage where I've worked out which team I actually want to put my support behind, I'd then be tempted to I'd actually watch their games.
So I used to look for what I thought was the most interesting game at a particular time slot and watch that game. But more recently, I do just jump straight to Red Zone. Game Pass will allow you to do picture-in-picture though. You can,
that's not too bad.
Play 4 games at once.
That's fair enough.
But I hate adverts, so I don't know why I've been doing it all this time. So I just now jump to Red Zone.
For me, Red Zone's the best as well for keeping up with your fantasy as well, because if a scoring play's happened, you will see it eventually on Red Zone. Whereas the Sky Sports coverage will show you the scores, but it's quite slow. And obviously, it takes a break in the game that they're showing to then bring back the stuff that they're actually waiting to show you.
Yeah. So you should have I'm doing like Sunday is going to be like an open house at mine. If people want to come watch American football, come around just to watch American football.
Yeah,
that's going to be what we're going to do this season.
The guy who hosts it, Scott Hansen, is actually quite funny. So he normally sort of comes out with a few good one-liners and stuff like that. He's very much the Jeff Stelling of the NFL world.
I can't imagine either Ed or Sam are going to start on Monday morning with "Did you see Red Zone yesterday?" but you, on the other hand,
I might check it out. What time is it on? Is it
starts at 6 and it'll run till 1 in the morning. And I normally watch it all the way through.
And then come to work on a Monday.
And then obviously I do what I did
Complain
last night.
No wonder you're always tired.
And then I do what I did last night and basically decide to watch the 3 o'clock game through till 6 o'clock in the morning and then go to bed and then come into work at about 9:45.
Do you just let your rage keep you awake? That seems to be your...
Probably, yeah. I find it's what fuels me the best and makes me so happy.
It's alright though, Sam, because Paul doesn't make a decision like, I don't know, starting a football game at 3, staying up till 6, and then making that everyone else's fault. Paul's not the kind of guy that would do that.
Definitely not. I'm definitely a really, really nice person when I get to work. Not an absolute nightmare to deal with at all. Ever.
I believe the word cocksucker has been bandied about a few times.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's when he's being nice to people as well.
Yeah, I've said it before. I'm fairly coming to terms with the condition now that I'm pretty sure everyone in the office thinks I'm an absolute dick. So.
You're okay with it. You just.
So we don't.
You have to warn things, don't you?
I think Sam came out of a manager's meeting at some point saying, "I need to tell Paul something." And
Yeah, just
I
get
don't know
rid
how
of
to
him.
do it.
Just get rid of him.
Yeah. So that saved you a job.
Leopards can't change their spots. I can't stop being a fucking penis.
It does seem to be fairly chronic.
Chronic penis.
Chronic
Wow.
penis.
I'm pretty certain I've heard that band.
I'm going to smoke some chronic... What? And on that note, have you got anything else for the fantasy this week?
We've done the roundup. We've done the preview. Any ideas for structure would be nice, because at this point we're just going to be doing very similar to this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, anybody who's into the NFL and would like to hear us... Because, like, a few people have come back on the message that I sent out with the schedule, and they were like, well, what do you want to see? And there was, like, pie charts and stuff being thrown around. It's like...
I'm pretty sure I've got taken
pointers.
Yeah.
Like a pointer and some stats and stuff. Which, if I'm
In
honest...
fairness, graphics do generally make that sort of thing a bit more palatable.
Yeah, I mean, if needs be, we could do a sort of like a play of the week sort of thing. Like we each pick our favourite play that we saw.
We need some NFL style music.
Reenactment.
Reenacts
that play of the week.
I think if you were willing to like really hurt yourself, that could be quite funny, actually. But
seriously, if you like it for brutality, you would love watching it. There are some absolutely ginormous hits.
Wait, you just said that this guy got injured by standing on someone.
Yeah, but that was this guy's quite old.
This could be the point in time where I actually branch out and get the the helmet, because if we're going to start reenacting, stuff, I want to protect myself.
Helmet pads.
Helmet.
Excellent.
Well, there we go. That's
So as we said,
week one in the bag.
bag.
It's in the history books, as some might say.
Let's hope for
Let's hope for another win.
A win for next week. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to throw myself off a cliff or something.
This is Paul for the next 17 weeks, in case anybody's wondering.
Oh God, it's so frustrating.
It's very true.
It's not funny though when someone who supposedly has all the knowledge comes in last.
This is the joy and the absolute nightmare of fantasy, because it's a complete lottery.
I wonder
you can draft the best team possible. They might
someone like me would be a great control. We just throw in there to see whether that randomness works at all.
Oh yeah.
For about 10 weeks of last season, I didn't set a lineup. I think I won 4 games. Out of that.
Total chance.
Yeah.
And the thing is with fantasy, you'll always get absolute randomers that'll score touchdowns on a weekly basis. It's like the backup tight end for a team will score a touchdown and no one's got him on their roster. No one's ever heard of him before.
So you then pick him up next week and he'll never go from scoring 18 points one week and not getting one the week after. Very frustrating. Look at Sam just going, yeah, I know you're paid, man. Not a clue. I might as well have said, yeah, God, he took his motherboard out and scraped it down wrong or something like that.
I think Sam probably appreciates it more than any of us. He's got all those little models he makes out, and they'll make a special effort, use it once, and never pick it up again.
There you go.
See,
I do have tiny spacemans.
Yep, and that is a strategy-based game.
Oh my God,
Because I'm a massive nerd.
So you can start off having tiny sports balls. Tiny sports balls, peoples.
Blood Bowl's a great game.
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl is
Monsters.
Yeah, it's fantasy American football. It's a great game.
Excellent.
True.
Maybe you'd be good at that one.
I might be good at that.
I'd love to get a Blood Bowl league started.
It's alright. And on that note, let's leave that. Say goodbye, everyone. Folk crotch.
I'm glad I could contribute.
We will.
So there you go, week 1 NFL fantasy in the bag. What do you think to that? Did we cover all the bases? Let us know in the comments. How's that? Jump over to thecookiecast.com. Give us a shout. Tell us what you're liking. Yeah. So how did you guys do in this week's fantasy? Did you win? I hope so. Okay, so we're going to do the fantasy hopefully every week. Make sure that we're keeping up with that. And yeah, so tune in next time to see what we've got for you on week 2 of the NFL 2018 season. But until then, bye-bye.